you're about to hear is a true story, a place so disturbing. Even Stephen King had to leave in the middle of the night. This is the Stanley Hotel. On a bitter October night in 1974, author Stephen King checked into room 217 of the Stanley Hotel with his wife. They were the only guests in the vast, empty building. Or so they were told. As King laid in bed that night, his dreams turned violent. A fire hose in the hallway, slithering like a serpent. A young boy, eyes wide in terror, chased by a force he couldn't escape. He awoke drenched in sweat, his heart hammering. He left the next morning and wrote The Shining shortly after. But King wasn't the only one. Room 217 had a history long before he arrived. In 1911, a maid named Elizabeth Wilson was blown through the floor during a gas explosion. Miraculously, she survived. But guests since have reported waking up to a cold presence and finding their belongings meticulously folded at the foot of their beds. One couple claimed they were awakened by a loud bang. The lights had turned on. Their suitcases were unpacked, clothes stacked neatly, the door to the closet slowly creaking open. And then came the voice. A whisper, just one word: leave. The grand staircase of the Stanley is breathtaking by day. Ornate, polished, proud. But by night, it becomes something else. Multiple photos captured over the years show a transparent woman in vintage clothing descending the steps. One image, taken in 2016 by a tourist named Henry Yao, went viral. There was no one on the stairs when he took it, but the figure of a woman in 1920s attire was clearly visible in the photo. Some say it's Flora Stanley, wife of the hotel's founder. She died long ago, but her love for the hotel, it never left. Guests have heard piano music in the dead of night, drifting from the music room. But when staff checked it, no one's there. The fourth floor is where nannies once watched over the children of wealthy guests, but their laughter still echoes. Guests have reported hearing giggles at 3 a.m., tiny footsteps running through the hallway. One man claimed a child's hand grabbed his in the dark. When he looked down, nothing was there. In room 401, once used by the head nanny, a guest woke to see a figure standing at the foot of her bed. A boy, pale. He stared for a full minute, then turned and disappeared into the wall. Room 428 is infamous. Guests often report seeing a cowboy standing in the corner, silently watching them. One woman woke to find the man seated at the edge of her bed, smiling. When she screamed, he simply stood, tipped his hat, and vanished. The rocking chair in that room is known to move by itself. Hotel staff have even removed it, only for it to return. As if someone refuses to leave. The basement beneath the Stanley is rarely seen by guests. It's damp, cold, silent, except when it isn't. Staff have heard whispering voices echoing through the stone halls. Some report cleaning tools moved, shadows sliding along walls. One janitor fled after feeling a cold breath against his neck, but he was alone. Security footage confirmed it. There is a hallway in the West Wing that doesn't appear on any blueprints. Some call it the unwritten corridor. A guest wandered into it in 2003 and was lost for over 40 minutes. When he was found, he had scratches on his arms. He couldn't stop muttering. The walls moved. They moved. He never returned to the hotel. That wing has since been closed off. But some say, if you listen closely near room 310, you'll hear footsteps pacing back and forth. Some believe the Stanley is not just haunted, it's cursed. Countless guests over the decades have left the hotel changed. Not scared, but altered. A couple from Chicago visited in 1998. Upon returning home, their daughter began sleepwalking for the first time. Each time she would say, "I'm going back to the big White House. The music's still playing." They had never told her they stayed at the Stanley. She was only 3. The Stanley Hotel continues to operate. Guests check in every day, drawn by its beauty and its darkness. Some seek the paranormal, others stumble into it. But one thing remains constant. Something is always watching, listening, waiting. And if you're brave enough to stay in room 217, you might not leave with a story. You might leave changed.